Hey there, Solemn Salmon here. As many of you will know, I'm not the biggest fan of the Fleet Manager introduced in the Cherry update. Whilst it can be a useful tool, it's a tad broken and unintuitive. One of the best fixes for many of its problems is to design your ships manually, deactivating auto-generate and using auto-best with caution. Whilst annoying, this gives you the opportunity to really get into the nitty-gritty of ship design, making sure your corvettes and cruisers are up to scratch, maximising defence and offence, lasers and kinetics. If you don't fancy such constant micromanagement, then hopefully this video is for you. I'm going to take a look at some of the best ship loadouts at various points in the game, with brief discussion of the pros and cons of various weapons and components. And bear in mind that these are largely my opinion and what I've found to work, and might not represent the mathematically optimum loadouts. As such, if you think you've got a better suggestion, I'd love to hear it and try it out for myself, so make sure to drop a comment. Anyway, let's get started. Battleships are your classic large vessels, bristling with weaponry, firepower, defences and sheer power, plus the high maintenance to go with it. While supposedly functioning as the backbone of your fleet, battleships will show up to any engagement and rain fire on your enemies from long range, turning the xeno into the dust it deserves to be. Look, battleships are pretty cool. Pre-Titans, they were the largest ship class available, and as such their role is to deal large amounts of damage in big chunks, rather than speeding around the galaxy or the battlefield. They're functionally the opposite of a corvette, a boxer's uppercut to your face rather than a needle to the soft spots in your neck. With the ability to mount an X-size weapon slot, battleships represent another step up in the ladder of ship design, although it does come with the loss of the mighty Pickett combat computer and its bonus to tracking. Thus, we come to the go-to battleship design. The X slot in the front is filled by the Giga Cannon. With some insane raw damage, all of the X slot weapons are killers, but the cannon should always take priority due to its plus 50% damage to shields, an enemy ship's first line of defense, and therefore the first you'll want to take down. The cannons also benefit from plus 25% damage to hull, but are let down by relatively poor accuracy and minus 25% armor damage, which is where the other two sections come in. With 4 large-sized weapon slots, you can go nuts with neutron torpedoes, which feature the highest raw damage of any large slot weapon, in combination with plus 50% armor damage and plus 75% damage to hull. The intent with this design is to take out enemy ships' shields in the first few shots, hammer their armor as you continue to close, and then finish them off with the hull damage bonuses from all 5 of your weapons. It's a potent combination against larger classes like other battleships and cruisers, but suffers from low tracking against corvettes and destroyers, which you can only partially negate with the line combat computer and double auxiliary fire control. To be honest, I could probably finish the video there. The Cannon-Neutron Torpedo battleship is the only one I use regularly, except when dealing with specific threats, i.e. endgame crises, because it works out as generally superior to the alternatives. Take for example the flip of this design, the Lance artillery battleship. Despite its awesome damage, the first few shots from the Lance are wasted due to its minus 50% shield damage, so you'll need to wait for the artillery to get into range before you start to have an impact. With the previous design, you could always drop the neutron torpedo on the artillery stern for a kinetic artillery if you want more balance between shield and armor damage. I've never felt it necessary. For the sake of discussion though, I do have one alternative that could be pretty useful. By exclusively using penetration weapons, in this case a focused arc emitter in the X slot and 4 cloud lightnings in the L slots, you can make armor and shield damage irrelevant, pouring all of your firepower into enemy ships' hull points. Don't be fooled by the lower average damage. As they skip straight to hull damage, these weapons can more than stand up on their own 2 feet, especially against fallen empires with their repeatable technology boosts to shields and armor. Hopefully these ship builds will give you an edge over your enemies, but bear in mind, the technologies you research and the challenges you face will more than likely require you to play around with these options, so don't be afraid to switch it up if you feel you need to. Anyhow, like and subscribe if this video was of use, and don't forget to drop any suggestions in the comments. This has been Solemn Salmon. Until next time.